nonfiction books, every weekend on C-SPAN and C-SPAN 2.
You're watching C-SPAN. Coming up, Ohio Congressman Dennis Kucinich makes it official. He'll run for the Democratic presidential nomination. Senator Joseph Lieberman is also running. His remarks from a campaign event later. And after that, former Bush White House advisor Karen Hughes on leadership and the role of women in the administration.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And to Mimi Kennedy, thank you for your presence here and for your tireless efforts to organize the Hollywood community and entertainment community on behalf of our campaign. Thank you, Mimi Kennedy. And I want to thank, too, specifically by name, all those who have helped to bring this program together and to bring us all here, beginning with our program chairman, Dale Miller, and to the clergy who have come together representing the Jewish, the Muslim, and the Christian faiths who, through their presence here, express the unity of all people. Thank you so much for your participation. And to all those who made it possible for me to be here and through your participation in this program, I want to thank Rocco Scotti, Councilman Jay Westbrook, Dr. Lopez, Tina Farmer. Please join me in thanking each of them. State Senator C.J. Prentice, thank you for giving my speech. I can leave now. And Commissioner Peter Lawson Jones. You know, it is an important moment in the history of this county and in the history of the United States when this community has created the circumstances to elevate one of its favorite sons as well to the status of the county commission. And for me, Peter Lawson Jones, it was an honor and a privilege to have the opportunity to nominate you and to have the opportunity to work for you. And I want to tell you that all of us love you. I want to thank Mayor Campbell for helping us begin this program. I want to thank the President of the Cleveland City Council, President Frank Jackson, for his assistance in helping us come together here. Please join me in thanking Frank. I was talking to George Forbes last night, and I don't know if George was able to make it. He hasn't been feeling well lately, and we all wish him well, but I was telling George, you know, I'm going to be in the council chambers here, and I might be running for President of the United States, but having been mayor of Cleveland, I know where the real power is. It's up here. And so I'm grateful for the chance to be here in this council chambers. And I want to ask every member of the City Council of Cleveland who is present, please stand up to be acknowledged, all the council members. right where Councilman Robert White is sitting, that was my seat in the city council. When I was sworn in 1970, and I can tell you that it's been quite a journey, and it's a journey that brings me here today to also thank all the members of the state legislature who are here and are supporting our efforts. Please stand, members of the legislature who are here. Thank you very much. And I want to once again ask everyone who serves in public office. There are members of city council here from many communities and suburban mayors. Please stand and be acknowledged for your public service as well. Please do. I have some special guests here who are members of the St. John Cantius class of 1964. Who would have thunk it, huh? Please stand up and say hello. That's my alma mater. Keep in mind that when I was in the 9th grade, I tried out for the football team. Some of you will get the, yeah. Actually, Lynn, they said they'd let me be the football, but not a player, right? And the cards that some of you will get talks about this 4'9", 97-pound quarterback, third string quarterback. What we didn't tell him, Lynn, is we only had 2 strings. But I was the third string quarterback and actually played. As it's said here, I spent a lot of time eating turf. And this was our team, and I appreciate my classmates being here. You know, it's kind of funny how things never change. I mean, here I am, this short, very short quarterback, too short to play, they told me. I played. And now I'm running for president of the United States, and some people say I'm too short to be president. But people tell me on the campaign trail, they say, stand up. I said, I'm standing up. But of course, in Cleveland, they know that when I stand up, people will follow. And I'm so grateful to have a chance to be here, to have all of you here. And there are some very special guests who are here, who are people who have taken this life journey with me, members of the Kucinich family. Family members, when someone's in public life, and every one of us who here was a public official, we know that our families do not get the glory, the adulation. For them, it's sometimes much more difficult than it is for the office holders. And so my family has been a source of encouragement and strength. We've taken a long journey together, and I'm going to ask members of the Kucinich family, my brothers, my sister, please stand. My aunt, Betty, my nieces and nephews. Because I have a story to tell in a moment, and I'm going to ask one person to remain standing. Now, some of you remember years ago the birth of my daughter, Jackie. And she's been away at college for some time now, and she's back here for this important day. I'm so proud of her. She has grown to be such a brilliant and beautiful young woman. Please join me in welcoming my daughter, Jacqueline Faith Kucinich. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, and thank you for joining me for this important moment, not only for myself, but for our Cleveland community. I know my brothers and sisters will remember this story well. There is a fiery torch which lights the night skies over our beloved Cleveland. It rises from the furnace of a steel mill. I remember a time when that light played against the interior of our car. As a young child, I pressed my face against the car window and watched as the flame reached up. It filled me with wonder. It gave me a sense of hope, a spark of hope. It made me forget that my mom and dad, my brothers and sisters, all 7 of us, were living in that car. Light has the power to enkindle dreams. And though we lived in 21 different places by the time I was 17, including a couple cars, I breathed in that image of blazing light, and I breathe it out at this very moment. The Scriptures bid us to send forth our light and our truth. And when children carry within their hearts the torch of hope, they learn the darkness yields not only to man-made fire, but to starlight, to the rising sun, and to the light of the soul. So I dedicate this day to the light bearers of today and tomorrow, the children who seek hope, who seek homes, who seek our help to be lifted up, to learn how to look for the light, how to read, how to dance, how to sing, how to play, how to love, how to summon from seemingly nothing the new realities, which some call miracles. Miracles occur. Miracles occur when our faith meets inner vision, where believing is seeing. This moment, which unfolds as the dream of an inner city child who once lived in a car to become President of the United States, celebrates not my potential, but the creative potential of each and every child to be somebody, to be loved, to serve, to lead, to be carried into the myth and magic of the expressive power of the American dream. And our responsibility to make each child's dream come true. Last month I introduced a bill, and as President will seek to enact a program to provide for universal pre-kindergarten for children ages 3 to 5, to give each child an early start in a 5-day-a-week program in a school setting to learn reading skills, educational, social skills, to have proper nutrition available. This daycare program would be funded by a 15% reduction in the bloated Pentagon budget. You know and I know the United States already spends more money than the rest of the world combined for the Pentagon. You know and I know that there is massive waste in the Pentagon budget. It would not jeopardize the security of our nation. However, it would instead enhance the economic security of our nation and of our nation's families by providing for fully funded daycare for our children, It would help save families at least $5,000 per child. To do this, I will match an effort to provide free tuition at public colleges and universities for all of America's youth. Let us lift up this nation in the cause of education. Let us lift up the children. Let us help our babies. Let us help Americans' young people. In these proposals, we see the deeper meaning of a sculpture which towers above the entrance of the House of Representatives. This sculpture, a woman's arm, is outstretched, protecting a child who sits blissfully atop a pile of books. This artwork, which is at the center of our national experience as we pass through into the House of Representatives every day, this artwork of a woman's arm protecting a child is entitled Peace Protecting Genius. Peace Protecting Genius. Not with nuclear arms, but with the arms of maternal love is the child genius protected. And the child genius achieves peace through love and through education. I'm running for President of the United States to enable the goddess of peace to encircle within her reach all the children of this country and all the children of the world. And to protect our children from poverty and war, and to hold them in the light of grace, and to hold them in the power of peace. I'm running for President of the United States to challenge this system which traps so many of America's children and adults in fear, in violence, and poverty, and makes us pay for wars we don't want, and causes us to sacrifice our children's future. I'm running to challenge that system. We will challenge that system. We will change that system. And I'm running for President of the United States to create a cabinet-level Department of Peace and Nonviolence. "50 members of Congress now support this proposal, which was introduced in July of 2001. The Department of Peace will facilitate the dream and the vision of Dr. Martin Luther King, that dream which still seeks to make nonviolence an organizing principle in our society. And we can do that through education. We can do that through teaching our children peace sharing and peace giving and mutuality. We can do that through education and addressing the challenges of domestic violence, spousal abuse, child abuse, all of those afflictions which occur within our home and our society seldom organizes to deal with. America can organize her collective efforts to focus on and to help free our homes from this violence. The Department of Peace knows that America does not have to be helpless in the face of violence in our schools, in the face of racial violence or violence against gays. The same power that brought to our nation freedom bids us to free ourselves from the shackles of violence through making nonviolence a structured part of the everyday life of our nation, to teach peace, to teach conflict resolution, to free our homes and to free our communities of violence, to prove that the American evolution is within. And when peace becomes innermost, it then becomes outermost in our communities and in our nation. At this very moment, the men and women who we treasure, who serve this country honorably, stand in Iraq because there are those who believe that war is inevitable. The belief that war is inevitable creates violence. As president, I will work with the leaders of the world to make war a thing of the past, to abolish nuclear weapons. America If America is to lead in peace, it must lead in peace through rejoining the world community. And as president, I will facilitate rejoining the world community through signing the Biological Weapons Convention, the Chemical Weapons Convention, the Small Arms Treaty, the Landmine Treaty, join the International Criminal Court, sign the Kyoto Climate Change Treaty. It is time for America to rejoin the world. And as we rejoin the world community, we can then work to make sure that principles of peace are carried aloft throughout the Middle East at a moment when our brothers and sisters, Israelis and Palestinians alike, find themselves locked into internecine conflict. This is the moment when the hand of peace, which seeks to create conditions where all may live together and coexist peacefully, is so needed. America cannot put its foot on the accelerator of war and advocate peace simultaneously. In the book of Isaiah, we are urged to be repairers of the breach. Our work for peace will be strengthened when we repair the breach within our own society. Today is an appropriate day to remind ourselves of the necessity of healing the breach with Native Americans who were dispossessed when exploration turned to exploitation and when the cause of American natives were excluded in the cause of all Americans. I have joined Congressman John Conyers' call to study reparations for those whose African American ancestors suffered enslavement. And let me tell you why I've done that. Because we must recognize the debilitating effects of slavery which are with us still. The debilitating effects of racism, which still exist. We must recognize this because so many of our African American brothers and sisters are locked still in prisons of poverty, substandard housing, unemployment, rundown schools, without health care, without hope. I know this. And my brother Gary, my brother Frank, my brother Larry, my sister Terry, my sister Beth, my brother Perry, we know this. because often we were the only Caucasian family living in a community of color. We know this. This is not only about repairing the breach for African Americans. This is about healing our world. This is about what is called in the Jewish faith tikkun olam. We must heal the breach. We must heal the breach. We must begin this process of reconciliation and healing. We must be repairers of the breach, and we can help to repair the breach by having a nation which stands for jobs for all, health care for all, and education for all. Let's use this as a moment to lift up America. And we need to stop the breaches which are occurring right now with an immigration policy which causes so many of our Latino brothers and sisters to be reduced to another kind of slavery because they have to come into America to try to receive an opportunity to survive financially, but they don't have the protections of law, they don't have the protections of the Fair Labor Standard Act, their children don't have health care, their children don't have education. We must do everything we can to create legalization and amnesty for immigrant workers. We must lift them up too. We must be repairers of the breach. We must repair the breach for people of color. And we must heal America from the pain and the suffering and the fear of 9/11, which unfortunately led this administration to attack a nation which did not attack us and to pass a Patriot bill which undermines our civil liberties. America stands strongest in challenging terrorism when we do not give up an inch of our civil liberties. And when we cooperate with the world community in matters of international security. I ask you, how can we afford to be the policemen of the world when we can't afford to hire police, fire, and EMS back here at home in our cities? That is why this week I will be present in Congress to vote against funding $87 billion for the occupation of Iraq. I am running for President of the United States to end the United States occupation of Iraq and put an end to the lies which brought us into Iraq, and to help make this country whole again in the world community, and to challenge those lies which, if left unchallenged, will cause this administration to lead this country towards another war. We must challenge those lies. I am running for President of the United States to stop the hundreds of billions of our tax dollars from going towards a continued occupation of Iraq. And I am here at this moment to say that it is time to support our troops. And I say support our troops, bring them home. Bring them home. Bring them home. People ask, well, that sounds great. How can you do it? I put on the website at Kucinich.us a few days ago an exit strategy to bring our troops home by New Year's. And here's how we can do it. The United States must go to the UN with a resolution that has these features. Number one, that the UN will handle all of the oil assets on behalf of the Iraqi people with no privatization. No privatization. until the people of Iraq can handle their own affairs. Number two, that the UN will handle the contracts. No more Halliburton sweetheart deals. No more war profiteering. No more no-bid contracts going to political contributors of the administration. Number three, that the UN handles the cause of creating new governance in Iraq until the Iraqi people can take care of their own affairs. This is the moment that we need to reach out and connect with the world community once again. We can do that. We can bring the UN in and get the U.S. out. We need to bring the UN in and get the U.S. out and to bring our troops home. And I'm running for president to break the shackles of fear which have deprived our citizens of rights. The passage of the Patriot Act was an abomination, and as president, I intend to lead the effort to repeal it. We need to regain the trust. We need to regain the trust of the American people in their government, and we need to have a government which trusts the American people. This war threatens our civil liberties, our civil freedoms, and our economic freedoms. The rising budget deficit at national and state levels will continue to mount with the continued occupation. Meanwhile, absolutely no attention is being paid to a rising trade deficit, which is now approaching $450 billion. Americans have lost 3 million manufacturing jobs since July of 2000. NAFTA and the WTO have facilitated the movement of jobs out of America because you know and I know corporations move where they can pay workers less. Corporations move where workers don't have rights, where nations provide little legal protection. America could change that. America could set new rules for trade, but to do that, you must set aside NAFTA and the WTO. I'm running for president to cancel NAFTA and the WTO. And this is about fair trade. People ask, what will you do next? We return to bilateral trade. Everyone wants access to our market. We can help set the rules, and through setting the rules, we can lift up the cause of all workers. And how can we do that specifically? We must put into our new bilateral trade agreements workers' rights, the right to organize, the right to collective bargaining, the right to strike, the right to decent wages and benefits, the right to a safe workplace, the right to a secure retirement. We can put those into our trade agreement. We can protect American workers, and we can lift the cause of workers all over this world, and it is time to do that. We need to remember another time when America was hurt economically, and an American president by the name of Franklin Delano Roosevelt faced a nation that was broken economically and said, we have nothing to fear but fear itself, and enacted a range of social and economic programs to restore America. As the next president of the United States, I intend to lead the way to restore our cities through having a new WPA-type program to rebuild our bridges, our roads, our water systems, our sewer systems, to build new energy systems. We can rebuild America. We can put millions of more back to work. I will work to create new jobs, too, with the help of the inventive genius of the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, which here at Glenn Research Center in Cleveland, we're privileged to have them work on creating the future of America. Under my administration, NASA will help America lead the way, enabling the private sector to work with the public sector through the licensing or purchase of the rights to develop from the first stage new technologies and research and energy, technologies which are in the materials, technologies in communication, technologies in environmental protection, in medicine, technologies which are in propulsion. This cooperative public-private partnership will lead us into meeting and creating the industries of the future will create new high-tech jobs. We can do that. We have the ability to do that today, and I intend to help NASA lead the way to creating the new jobs. And we can create new jobs, too, with a new approach to health care. We know how many places in America where businesses are laying off employees because they can no longer afford the cost of health care, where employees are seeing cutbacks in their health care benefits because of a health care system that is no longer about people. Last month, I introduced a bill which takes the profit out of health care. Together with John Conyers and Jim McDermott, this proposal brings to the American people a universal, single-payer system, Medicare for all. It is time for health care for people, not for profit. You know, and I know that insurance companies make money not providing health care. They make money by stopping people from getting the care they need. They make money by making insurance agents more powerful than doctors. They make money because they're interested only in profit. Universal, single-payer health care. This proposal that I'm talking about covers all medically necessary procedures, complementary and alternative medicine. Insurance companies don't make money when people aren't sick. Yet we have people in this country who can't afford to be sick and they can't afford to be well. But complementary and alternative medicines included in a universal health care proposal. And it includes vision care. And it includes dental health care. Let me tell you, this smile did not come cheap. And all the children of America should have a beautiful smile, but we know that the rising cost of health care, in particular the cost of dental care, takes proper dental care out of the reach of many families. And so what I intend to do as the next president is to make sure that this provision for dental health care is included in a universal health care bill, and will also include long-term care. Some baby boomers are fortunate to still have their parents with them, and I will tell you, as we learn about the cost of nursing home care, we know that some families have to give up everything they work for because of the cost of nursing home care. My proposal for universal health care covers long-term care. No more health poverty in America because people need long-term care. It covers mental health care. It covers prescription drugs. In my district in Cleveland, Ohio, senior citizens are splitting their pills to try to make prescriptions last. They're giving up meals or giving up purchases of clothing to be able to pay for the high cost of prescription drugs. This proposal for universal health care includes a fully funded prescription drug benefit, another way to take our people out of health poverty. People ask me, oh, sounds great, how can you do this? We are already paying for universal health care. We're not getting it. Why aren't we getting it? Because the health care dollar now involves stock options, executive salaries, high profits, lobbying, marketing, advertising, the high cost of paperwork. We want the health care dollar to go into caring for people. And that's exactly what this proposal does. No more bankruptcies for health care, no more health care poverty in America, no more premiums, no more co-pays, no more deductibles. We're already paying for universal health care, we're not getting it. It's time, America, and it's time, too. It is time, too, to make corporations accountable to the American people, to require that they tell the truth to their shareholders, to require that they tell the truth to their investors, to require that they tell the truth to their employees, to their retirees, that they tell the truth. And that and I will bring to the presidency of the United States an independence to insist on a higher standard of conduct for Wall Street and its captains. It was a century ago when America had a president, Theodore Roosevelt, who took on the trusts of his era, who challenged the monopolies of his time. I say that now is the time to once again break up the monopolies and restore competition in our economy. And we must do so again on behalf of small business and on behalf of family farmers. And as president, I will move to break up the monopolies in agriculture, which strangle the market from seed to shelf, and to make sure that our family farmers are able to get their product to market and get the price that they're entitled to. Of course, as Peter and CJ and Jay and others have pointed out, I have some experience in dealing with monopolies. It was here in this very council chambers 25 years ago that I had the privilege of stopping the sale of Cleveland's municipal electric system. And stopping the takeover of our public power system by a utility monopoly, because I recognized then, as I recognize now, that it matters how much people pay for electricity. That's why I fought to make sure that the people of this community would be able to have access to cheaper power. I'll share with you a story from that time 25 years ago. The very day that I said no to the sale of our municipal electric system, on December the 15th, 1978, I was thinking, brothers and sisters, Frank and Gary, I was thinking about when we lived above Martha's Delicatessen at 10712 St. Clair. And I was thinking about Mom and Dad sitting at the kitchen table, counting the pennies so they'd have money to pay for the utility bill. I can still hear those pennies dropping, click, 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 on that tabletop. And I could hear them on that day when I was asked to sell Cleveland's municipal electric system. Oh, I want all of you here to know that I remember where I came from. I want all of you to know that. Because there are so many families in America, so many families struggling to hold on to their homes, to hold on to their health care, to hold on to their retirement security, to hold on to their education funds, that it matters how much people pay for electricity, for gas, for home heating oil, for food, for health care, for education. These kitchen table issues always bring us home if we know where home is. Cleveland is my home. Cleveland is where my heart resides. Cleveland is where my dream started. Cleveland is where I've learned the lessons I want to share with every American. The lesson that one person can make a difference. The lesson that anyone can and anyone should be able to rise from humble beginnings to lead a nation. The lesson that we can change the outcome. The lesson of the power of the human heart and the power of the human spirit to transform the world. I have seen miracles. I have seen the people of Cleveland create miracles. During my career, you have helped me to save a municipal electric system when it was already sold. You have helped me to keep hospitals open when they were already closed. You have helped me to save a steel mill, to help keep that bright light burning over the industrial valley when other communities' hopes were extinguished. Because of you, because of you, because of you, I know the power of hope, the power of optimism, the power of faith, and the power of light. Years ago, my grandfather, John Kucinich, now the name was spelled Kucinic. When he came over on the boat, they added the H. A lot of names were changed there. Kucinic. When he came over, because he pronounced it Kucinich, they added the H on. So now, Gary, anytime someone tells me to get the H out of there, I think they're talking about my grandfather. And my grandfather, when he traveled from Croatia as a very young man, he traveled to Ellis Island, and he was welcomed by a light as well. He was welcomed by the light of liberty, that Statue of Liberty that holds its lamp high, and on the base of the Statue of Liberty, there's that inscription by Emma Lazarus, "Give me your tired, your poor, huddled masses, yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shores. Send these, the tempest-tossed, to me. Lift my lamp beside the golden door. The tens of millions who journeyed to this nation from other lands connect us in fact and in spirit to the entire world. And in this campaign, they connect us to the highest aspirations of everyone who ever journeyed here to become full partners, Peter Lawson Jones, full partners in the life of our nation. So, by the lights which guided my grandfather to America, by the lights still shining, celebrating public power, by the lights which still emblazon the sky over Cleveland's Steel Valley, I stand here, ready to light up America. I'm Dennis John Kucinich, and I'm running for President of the United States.
Him to stay for a minute so you can talk to the press. Dennis, you're amazing. Oh my God.
More campaign coverage now. Senator Joseph Lieberman has started a nationwide swing he's calling the Leading with Integrity Tour. The first stop today in Manchester.